Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We are so excited to finally host Denya, who we booked 2 years ago, and she made it all the way here, so we're very excited for this concert. I'd like to thank the Friends of the Library for helping to fund all of our programming. Thanks to them that we're able to do so much. And during the concert, if you could please silence your phones, that way we don't have any distractions during our lovely performance.
Nor interruptions in the video.
Yes. All right. So if you're ready,
Thank you, Lydia.
let's get started.
I'm really, really happy to be here. I brought real Cape Cod water with me. Came out of the tap in Wellfleet where the water is yummy good. It's not my first concert, but we're just getting back into it now, really. There have been some other gigs, but I'm happy to drive here and meet you all. When I play on my fiddle in Dooney folk dance like a wave on the sea. Now my brother is a priest in Kilvarnet and my cousin in Maharwee. I passed my brother and cousin as they read from their books of prayer. I read from my book of songs that I got at the Sligo Fair. When we come at the end of time to Peter sitting in state, he'll smile on the three old spirits, but call me first through the gate. For the good are always happy, saved by an evil chance, and the merry love the fiddle and the merry love to dance. And when they see me coming, they'll all come up to me with, here's the fiddler of Dooney, and they'll dance like a wave on the sea. The Fiddler of Dooney by William Butler Yeats, and the tune is called Morrison's Jig. And I noticed on the homepage of the Lunenburg Library, where it talked about what I was going to do, or what I do, it mentioned Songs of the Sea, so why not? This is called Cape Cod Girls. You're welcome to sing on the chorus. There's a choice of ways to sing this song. It's about 200 years old, more or less. And of course, it's a sea shanty. So what people did was on the ships is that they would be pulling or raising the sails all together, and it helped them keep the rhythm, but it also helped them keep from being bored all the time. When you're singing, you're not so bored, and we know who the popular people were on the ships. That was the people who could sing and lead the singing. So this is called Cape Cod Girls. And there's a couple of verses in here. I'm going to stop and tell you the origin of them. Most of these verses are the traditional verses that you've heard before, but some of them were made up by myself or my music partner, Julia. Cape Cod girls don't use no combs, heave away, haul away, comb their hair with codfish bones, bows of Australia. Here up my bully bully, heave away, all the way, all the way. Heave her up and don't make a noise, bows of Australia. Don't be shy. in a store in Provincetown. Cape Cod girls, they eat their clams away, all the way. Zip them into beach plum jam, bound for South Australia. Heave around, heave, bully, 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 heave away, all the way. Heave around, and don't you make a noise, round South Australia. And the last verse I saw burn into a piece of wood in an antique shop in Sandwich. We had to mess a little bit with the words to make them fit, but this is basically what it said. Cape Cod marinades have no feet, eat away, all the way. Tap their flippers to the beat, bound South Australia. Heave around, heave, bully, 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 sleep away, all the way. Heave around, and don't you make it bound South Australia. So my pal Julie says that she hopes that those verses will sometime become universal and that everybody will know those verses just like we know the other verses. And the Fisherman's News, the kids don't wear any shoes. There used to be a newspaper called the Fisherman's News on the Cape, and I guess it hasn't been around for 15 years or so, but it was a pretty popular newspaper, Fisherman's News. This is a song from the north of Ireland. Most of the music that I play that's Irish is more from the Republic, but this isn't. So it's probably better for the video. So I have two fiddles with me today. I'll talk about the other one after. This one I've had since I have been an adult fiddle player, so it would be about 45 years that I've had this one. And it's fallen, it's been repaired, it's been treated very poorly, but I've played it a lot. I've put it down and taken it up and dropped it, and luckily I have never driven over it with my car. Some of my friends have, unfortunately. May their fiddles rest in peace. So this is a set of Irish polkas, and polkas are from, in general, they're from the West Coast, Southwest, County Kerry. It's the local kind of music you'll hear. Polkas are my favorite. There's jigs and reels and waltzes, and there's hornpipes, and there's airs, but give me a polka any day. And these both were written by a very well-known fiddler. Anybody know who Kevin Burke is? Anybody know? Well, he has been my fiddle idol probably since I started playing. Kevin Burke from, I won't go into that story, because it'll go on forever. Here are two polkas. First one is called Open House, and the second one is called Porter for Three. Why I love those tunes. They just make me so happy. You don't have to be quiet. You can clap, you can stamp your feet, you can do anything you like to do. It could be participatory if you want. It's up to you. So I don't know whether you were all hoping for lots of sing-along or not. And this one, probably everybody here knows. It's called Molly Malone. She was a real woman who lived in Dublin. There's a lovely statue of her in Dublin. And I don't know exactly when she lived. It was a long time ago for sure. And after I sing Molly Malone, which I hope you will join me with, I'm going to play a tune called Within a Mile of Dublin. It's an Irish reel. And then the high reel, which I first learned in County Wicklow. I was there for about a month, 1998 or so. And the brother of my then boyfriend was a mandolin player, and he played this. And I'd never heard the high reel before. So this is, the tunes are Within a Mile of Dublin and the high reel. First glance, we all in alone. It brings me right back to Kevin Phelan's kitchen and hearing him play that tune long ago. Could have been longer ago, but no, I'd say 98. So this is my newest instrument, and I've invited my friends here, Kevin and Chuck, and they have not heard this instrument, I don't think. This is an octave fiddle, so I'm going to play a D string on the regular fiddle, and I'm going to play a D string on this. So it's one full octave below the regular fiddle, and it's called an octave fiddle or a baritone fiddle. Most people I know who are fiddlers have never seen this. So I was sitting around at a music session at a jam, and my friend Billy took out his octave fiddle and played a tune, and I really liked it. And he said, "Here, try it." No, I don't want to try it. Here, try it. I tried it, and I played a few notes. I said, "I want one of those."
Now, is it tuned?
Exactly the same as a fiddle, except it's fat strings. So these
strings
are
look heavier, yeah.
These are octave strings. So this is an old fiddle. I don't know how old, but there's a little piece of paper in it that says that it was worked on by Anton Olsen in 1923. So I'm going to say before 1900, but I don't know, and the person who gave it to me also didn't know. In order to put these strings, these fat strings on, I had to bring it back to Don McKenzie 4 times. He's my fiddle fixer in Brewster. He had to change the bridge, he had to change the nut, he had to make these holes, these grooves bigger to fit the strings. He had to take out these pegs and make the holes in the pegs bigger in order to fit the fat strings. That wasn't enough. I brought it back the 4th time and I said, "It's still not right." And what he did was he took this little tail piece and he shortened it, and that made it pretty good. And it's still not perfect, but I inspired this man who's 83 and a world-renowned bow maker, and he makes fiddles. So I inspired him to make one of these that's actually the right size to fit the strings. So I'm not buying it. I'm keeping this one. So that's the story of this. I've had this, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 months now, maybe 4 months. I'm still getting used to it. I have 2 bows. This is a genuine Don McKenzie bow that I bought this year. Can't play this fiddle on it. I have to use a heavy bow on this. So sometimes there's a little squeak. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not making any excuses, but just in case there's a squeak. And this is a very old Irish ballad. so in love with this.
Yeah.
I shut all the lights off in my living room, and I just put on candles. And I sit there in the candlelight. It doesn't work for every tune. Tunes that go on the low string, kind of wonky. It's still, you have to play an instrument, and this instrument has not been played enough. The person who gave it to me, it at least hadn't been played for 50 and maybe more years. And I hadn't played it very much until I put these strings on it. So I would say if I come back here in 10 years, it's going to sound better. This is a ballad made famous. It's an Irish ballad, but it was made famous by a Native American woman named Buffy St. Marie. And it's called Johnny Be Fair. Oh, Johnny be fine and Johnny be fair and wants me for to wed. And I would marry Johnny, but my father up and said, I'm sad to tell you, daughter, what your mother never knew. Johnny is a son of mine, and so is kin to you. Uh-oh, Jimmy be fine and Jimmy be fair and wants me for to wed. And I would marry Jimmy, but my father up and said, he said, I'm sad to tell you, daughter, what your mother never knew. Jimmy, alas, is a son of mine, and so is kin to you. Uh-oh. Timmy be fine and Timmy be fair and wants me for to wed. And I would marry Timmy, but my father up and said, you know, I'm sad to tell you, daughter, what your mother never knew. Timmy is a son of mine, and so is kin to you. You've never seen a girl so sad and sorry as I was. The boys in town are all me kin, and me father is the cause. If things should thus continue, I will die a single miss, and so I'll go to mother and complain to her of this. Oh, doctor, haven't I taught you to forgive and to forget? And if your father so his oats, well still you needn't fret. Your father may be father to all the boys in town, but still he's not the one who sired you. So marry. I gotta make sure I have to make sure I have the right bow. Nope, wrong bow. You wouldn't think it makes that much difference, and it does. So I'm going to play a set of Irish jigs because we haven't had any Irish jigs yet. And these, the first one is not that well known. It's called Irishmens Heart to the ladies. And the second one you will recognize. And if you aren't a friend of mine already and you know the name of this, I will give you a prize if you know the second one. Okay, the name of the second one. I do have some prizes here. Irishman's Heart to the ladies and
Fisherman's Turnpike, is it?
It's not, no, it's not Fisherman's.
Washerwoman?
What, more? More.
More.
More. You've got half of
What
it.
do you need in a
Half of
washerwoman?
it. You've got half of it. Where does the washerwoman live? Where does she live?
Where do you live?
The washerwoman.
Washerwoman.
She is a what washerwoman?
We never got that far.
Okay. He gets it. He gets the CD. It's the Irish washerwoman. It is the Irish washerwoman. Usually this is what I do, okay? I do a little bit of, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. Okay, so what am I doing? Before we had washing machines, we do. We washed our clothes on the washboard. We were all washerwomen. You're welcome. Okay, so this, I'm going to move, no, this is a traditional Irish ukulele. But because I only could accompany myself on the fiddle, I had to, at some point in my illustrious career, take up an accompanying instrument. And David Roth, who is a singer-songwriter who travels around the United States, but he lives on the Cape, he just encouraged me. He said, go buy a ukulele, they're really easy to play. He's right. I have the same 20 chords that I learned the first 2 years, and that's what you're going to get to hear on this. Whoops. I have a poem and then a poem and then a poem and then a song. So the poem, I'll give you the poem first. The poem is a Scottish poem I learned from my friend Rick Arnoldi. When I was a wee tot, they took me from my wee cot. They put me on the wee pot to see if I'd wee or not. And when they saw that I had not wee-weed on the wee pot, they put me back upon my cot, and there I wee-weed quite a lot. So this song, which I rarely sing, and I don't know why I don't sing it more, because I heard it on the radio the other day, I said, I just love this song. This is actually a Scottish song from about 1800, early 1800s. You will recognize the melody even if you don't know the words to it. And somehow it became an Irish traditional song and was made famous by Liam Clancy. So, from the Clancy Brothers. I love the words. How's that sound? There's the devil. Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hills to my darling. You choose the road, love, and I'll make the vow, and I'll be your true love forever. Chorus, but you can sing all of it if you like. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the morning. But my love is fairer than any. Twice down by Killarney's green woods, Billy Stray. The moon and the stars, they were shining. The moon shone its rays on its locks of golden hair. And he swore he'd be my love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the moon. But my love is fairer than any. It's not for the parting with my sister Kate. It's not for the grief of my in yonder garden grove. There is the lily of the valley, clear is the water that flows from the point. But my love is fairer than any. But my love is fairer than any. Did anybody else hear that on the radio recently? I think it might have been on Celtic Sojourn last Saturday. But I heard it just recently, and then the conversation got started about Liam Clancy, and I didn't realize that he was the one who had made it so famous. Back to the traditional ukulele here. This is not a traditional song, but it's a song that touches me every time I sing it, and if I get weepy, I'll just keep going, okay? So this is a song written by Guy Clark. I'm going to actually sing two songs tonight that are written by Guy Clark. He was an Austin, Texas singer-songwriter. You'll know some of his songs if you look him up. This is not a famous one, but this he wrote. This is an Irish song that he wrote. And even though it talks about his Irish grandfather, this could be my Jewish grandmother in this song. Not an Irish, I don't have any Irish. Well, in another lifetime I had Irish pounds, okay? But not this lifetime. This lifetime they're all from Eastern Europe. And this is called Immigrant Eyes. Old Ellis Island was swarming like a scene from a costume ball, decked out in the colors of Europe, on fire with the hope of it all. There my father's own father stood huddled, with the tired and the hungry and scared. The turn of the century pilgrims, bound by the dreams they shared. They were standing in line just like cattle. They were poked and sorted and shoved. Some were one desk away from sweet freedom. Some were torn from someone they loved. Through this sprawling tower of Babel came a young man confused and alone, determined and bound for America, carrying everything he owned. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's immigrant eyes, I see that they reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing and working hard all his life. Don't take it for granted, say grandfather's immigrant eyes. Now he rocks and he stares out the window, but his eyes are still just as clear as the day he sailed into the harbor to land on the island of tears. Now my grandfather's days, they are numbered, but I won't let his memory die, for he gave me the gift of this country and the look in his immigrant eyes. Sometimes when I look in my grandmother's immigrant eyes, I see that they reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing and working hard all of her life. Don't take it for granted, say grandmother's immigrant eyes. Don't take it for granted, say grandmother's immigrant eyes. sing it. I was at O'Shea's Pub in Dennis, and I think by the end of the song I was bawling. My grandmother came over to this country by herself at 15 years old with nothing, really nothing, and no words of English, and her parents had saved for a couple of years to send her because they couldn't feed everybody, and they gave her, oh, this is the sad part of the story, they had money for the trip, for her to come to this country because her brother was here already, my Uncle Barney, great Uncle Barney, and for a pair of shoes. And somebody took her shoes right when she got on the boat. But she made it, and she had 6 daughters, and she had 17 grandchildren, and I was her favorite. Yes. Yeah, of course. Of course I was her favorite. And she was my favorite. Her name was Gertrude. Her Jewish name was Gittel. So I'm going back to this this instrument. And Celtic music doesn't just mean Irish and Scottish music. There's a Celtic part of Spain, and there's a Celtic part of France, and that's Brittany. And this particular piece, it's a modern piece called Mine and Mazurka, written by a tune writer. I don't know how old he is. His name is Gilles Chabanat, and I actually play a couple of his tunes. And he wrote it for the hurdy-gurdy. If you've never heard a hurdy-gurdy live, go to YouTube and find yourself a hurdy-gurdy video, because it is a just gorgeous sounding instrument. So he plays the hurdy-gurdy, and this is called Mine and Mazurka from Brittany by Gilles Chabanat. So I have two more pieces actually to play. Does anybody have any questions about the instruments or the music or my time in Ireland?
When's the last time you were there?
2019, and I had a trip planned for April of 2020. And I will go back. I hope to go back this year. I'm not crazy about Ireland in the winter. I've been there dozens of times. I don't know how many. But the first trip I took was in 1987, over from November to February. It was 3 months. And I spent 2 of those months in Doolin, in County Clare, which was the mecca for traditional music. And it wasn't my plan. My plan was to go to Doolin, spend a little time there. Well, I spent a month there. I was able to rent a cottage right on Galway Bay with a peat fire, you know, the whole thing. You'd never want to leave if that's how you started with your trip to Ireland. But what I didn't realize at the time, in the 80s, 80s, mid-80s, was that Doolin was this magic place where musicians from all over Ireland came. And one particular musician that I knew there, he was a horrible, awful bad drunk, but he's actually a nice guy now, because I met him as an older person. But he lived a couple of villages over, 5 miles away, and he came for the weekend once, and he went home 4 months later. And that's what people did. You could stay, they could stay in a room with a bed in it and play some tunes and, get some food and some drink, lots of drink. He was a really mean drunk. And he's a very lovely person now. But I'm trying to think of what his name is, but it doesn't matter. I didn't know that that's what was going on. I just thought, oh, that's the way Doolin is. Now it has many mansions in it, and the way things, it always was, a place for people to go, tourists to go and listen to traditional music. But that was the heyday, and there I was in the middle of all this, just thinking, well, this is just life, Life is tunes and music all the time. And it's right near the Cliffs of Moher, which are, everybody who's been to Ireland goes to the Cliffs of Moher. So they go to the Cliffs of Moher, then they go to Doolin and listen to some music. Okay, this is not a Celtic tune, but this is another tune written by Guy Clark. And this will give you hope. This is a tune of hope, okay? Come on, first chord. It has a singable chorus. Homegrown tomatoes, what would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes, what would life be? What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things, money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Nothing in the world that I like better than bacon, lettuce, homegrown tomatoes. Up in the morning, out in the garden, pick me a ripe one, don't pick a hard one. Plant 'em in the spring, eat 'em in the summer, all winter without 'em, it's a culinary bummer. I forget all about sweating and digging every time I go out and pick me a big one. Homegrown tomatoes, what would life be? What would life be without a homegrown tomato? Two things, only two things money can buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Now, you can go out and eat them, that's for sure, but there's nothing a homegrown tomato won't cure. Put them in a salad, put them in a stew, you can make your very own tomato juice. Eat them with eggs, eat them with gravy, eat them with beans, pinto or navy. Put them on the side, put them in the middle. Homegrown tomatoes on a hot cake griddle. Homegrown tomatoes, what would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Now, if I could change this life I lead, you could call me Johnny Tomato Seed. Just one thing this country needs, homegrown tomatoes in every yard see it. When I die, don't bury me in a box in a cold dark cemetery. Out in the garden would be much better, where I'd be pushing up homegrown tomatoes. Homegrown tomatoes, what would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things money can buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Homegrown tomatoes, what would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
Can I share something with you?
Oh,
I just want to
please.
say thank you so much. You brought back the most wonderful memory to that song. When my girls were growing up, they were part of a local dance group.
Yes.
And one year, my youngest daughter had just joined the group, and they danced to Homegrown. And I still can see them. They all came out and they lined up on the stage and they had on bright red, tomato-colored leotards. And they played the song and the girls, you know, they did their dance and they were rolling around on the stage. And you just brought back that one. Oh, no. Exactly. Played that.
I'm so glad.
Me too.
I want to thank Leah for waiting 2 years for me to get here. And those of you who worked today for coming after work, and those of you who didn't, thank you for coming too. I'm going to end, usually I end on an upbeat, but I'm going to end on this particular song because I love it so much. It's an Irish song written by an American woman who spent a lot of time in Ireland, the late Judy Goodenough. And this is a song, it's called The Parting Song. It's not the parting glass, which is the traditional way of leaving people at an Irish session. People get up and they hold hands and they sing the parting glass, but I like the parting song. And in it is a verse in Irish. So if you think, why am I not getting this? It's because the verse is in Irish. And I have a wonderful coach. Harvest from Tipperary, who coached me, and eventually I think she said, that's the best it's going to be. Okay, that's good enough. That's all we can do. So this is called The Parting Song, and I will be partying with you, and thank you so much. I really had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you, Mairead, for your coaching on this. The Parting Song. The fire is out, the moon is down, the parting glass is drunk and gone, and I must go and leave this town before the rising of the sun. Long is the road and many's the mile before this heart will laugh again, at girls who sing and girls who weep, at all the words and ways of men. And there are those who cannot bide, who wander till their journey's end, to find a girl to be a bride, or find a man to be a friend. When I'm done with wandering, I'll sit beside the road and weep. But all the songs I did not sing, promises I could not keep. To Hugh may hear is Hugh may hear, to Chordig may down lan, to Chasachor Chordia Queen, Spurry Sport Kyolis Aran. Ach bring o Creel their fan, Imainer Shawson Boroam. The lean hen quart is Galen Gahord, Solange sail is and when I'm done with wandering, I'll sit beside the road and weep for all the songs I did not sing and promises I could not keep. I didn't mention that Judy Goodenough did not write the last verse, the verse in Irish. A friend of mine in Dingle, County Kerry, named Eilish Kennedy, when she recorded this, she added a verse in Irish, which is her native language. We call it Gaelic, but they call it Irish there. So the last verse anyway is from the Thank you. Can I come back?